Viewers and listeners from Nigeria, across Africa, and around the world. This is Smart Madu Ajaja, the anchor of Nigeria Now at ONN and the Nightingale Radio International, broadcasting live from Houston, Texas. I'm also the convener of Open Nigeria and Africa Unite. How are you doing? It's 2:45 p.m. Central Standard Time here in Houston, Texas, United States of America. I know it's evening in Nigeria, about 8:45 p.m. and whatever time it is elsewhere. I say good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and whatever it is. If it is good night, it's good night. Yes. So this is Smart Madu Ajaja, and let me use this opportunity to thank all those who have subscribed to our channel. That's the ONN at Nigeria Now on ONN on YouTube, and all those who like and comment and share our broadcast. Thank you very much. We couldn't be here without you. It is for your sake that we are here. It is you who keep us on our toes, working on contents to share with you about what is happening around the world. Thank you. It's a pleasure. And if you are tuning in, please, you've tuned in now, or you're going to be tuning in later to listen to this broadcast, please endeavor to, share and subscribe, comment, and of course, we want to hear from you and share your perspective about what it is. If you're a Nigerian right now listening to me, you have a duty, to share this message because of what is happening in our country and how what is happening in our country impacts us as Nigerians living in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. There's one thing that we have as a problem in Africa, with special reference to Nigeria, this elder system. People who are older, are never wrong in Nigeria. They beat down on the young people. When you are born a young person in Nigeria, you are guilty on day one of offenses committed by the elderly people. You are not allowed to speak. You are only allowed to be seen, in some situation, but never to speak. And that has impacted very negatively on the psyche of our young people. And that is one thing we must break right now. So our people will have self-confidence, to compete with the best in the world. Yeah, this broadcast is about a high-profile lawyer, Mr. Femi Falana, and his involvement in a scandal that he is trying to use his elder status. Yes, his elderly status. And because he's a lawyer, he wants to beat down on a young man, a young Nigerian who stood up, for another Nigerian, and by extension, the young people in Nigeria who have been, in captivity, mental siege, because they are youths, and as a result of which they cannot speak on some burning national issues. And that is why we exist as Open Nigeria. I am the driver of Open Nigeria. So there's a young man we call Bobrisky in Nigeria. He behaves like a transgender. He dresses, he chose by choice to dress and do things like women. I'm sure he has a sexual relationship with some high-profile Nigerians. Yes. And in recent times, he has been in the news. He went to jail for fraud, and then in his confession, he was sharing somebody who lent him some money, a young Nigerian who lives here in the United States, lent him money. And then when it was time for him to pay, he refused to pay, and instead was threatening the young man with high-profile Nigerians who are behind him. And then in the recorded video, he recorded the voice of Mr. Femi Falana, a high-profile lawyer, senior advocate of Nigeria, a man that most Nigerians respect, as an advocate of human rights. But you can read a book, you don't know what is actually inside the book. So he made mention of him because he was sentenced to jail, and he did not go to the prison yard to serve his jail time. And then the other person on the other end of the phone was asking, how come? So he told him that he had a godfather, Mr. Femi Falana, was strongly mentioned, and his voice was recorded. about instructions he was given to him. And then this young man released this tape to the guy who was helping him to collect his money from Bobrisky. Yeah, this notorious gay man who has decided to be a woman, dresses like a woman. He went and did surgery on his boobs. He has a fake ass and all that. He released the tape to the young man they call a very dark man. Yes, who was trying to help him collect his money. So one very dark man called Bobrisky to remit the 4 million naira he allegedly owes this young man in the United States. He started threatening him. So Mr. Very Dark Man told him, okay, I have a video, a recorded tape, of your conversation, and I'm going to make it public. So he dared him to make it public because he felt that he had this high-profile, ass-fucking Nigerian men, yes, who do business with, including Mr. Femi Falana. And in anger, Mr. Very Dark Man released the tape to the public. And now Mr. Femi Falana is coming after Mr. Very Dark Man for releasing the tape. Mr. Very Dark Man was not the originator of the tape. He didn't record it. He wasn't the one. Mr. Femi Falana had his friend Bobrisky, who called him Godfather, who protests criminals, yes, who protests fraudsters, yes. He implicated him. Instead of calling him, he's now going after the young man, threatening him with a court action, blackmailing him to try to get him remove the tape from the public domain. In fact, he even went as far as forcing him to offer an undeserving apologies. Yeah, an undeserving apology to him for speaking the truth, for making public his life of dirt behind a criminal, behind a man who fucks us. Yes, who has relationship with fellow men. And just today, I saw that he went to court and was granted an injunction asking him, Mr. Very Dark Man, to remove the tapes from the public domain. Yes, the fake and corrupt bench of Nigeria. Yeah, the judicial system of Nigeria, rotten. They will sell justice for any amount of money. So I am telling Mr. Very Dark Man today, go and withdraw your initial apology to Mr. Femi Falana. He's not deserving of it. In fact, he should be the one that should be arrested for aiding and abetting a criminal who ought to serve his jail time in prison, and to make him stay in a hotel, according to Bobrisky, instead of being in the prison yard as if he's this privileged Nigerian. He's no more Nigerian than the rest of those who are in jail serving their sentences. This is how corrupt Nigeria has gotten. Nigeria is down with corruption. Look at Mr. Femi Falana that the whole world respects. He's involved in this type of sleaze, and now he's trying to shut up a young man. Mr. Very Dark Man, contact me as quickly as possible. My number is +1 832 407 6282. I say it again, +1 832 407 6282. I live in Houston, Texas, United States of America. We will battle Mr. Falana and bring him down for what he's trying to do. And don't listen to any traditional ruler, because all of them are fake. Majority of them are fake, liars, disgusting, corrupt, and morally bankrupt men sitting on our thrones. People who are supposed to be moral mirrors. They have become the worst of examples to Nigeria. You wonder why the Knights are disorganized? You wonder why they have no sense of direction? When they are confused by these criminals, all that they look, our young people see, are men at the top, driven by criminality. driven by moral bankruptcy. So you see why Nigerian youths are corrupt? You see why some of them take to fraud? They have no examples. No leader, be political, religious, traditional, and even those in the business class are no examples that a young Nigerian can emulate. All they are doing is fraud. The young children grow up saying fraud. When we tell them about morality, they think like it's a movie, that it doesn't exist. They grew up meeting criminals as leaders. They grow up meeting criminals as businessmen. They grow up meeting criminals as their traditional rulers. They grow up meeting criminals as religious leaders. Tell me why they should, honestly, why the Nigerian young person should be the most well behaved. We are lucky to have some good ones among them. But this generation of young people in Nigeria are troubled because they are bereft of examples to look up to for anything. So they are those ones that will be going, the fake elders, the fake traditional rulers, the fake religious leaders are going to be the ones putting pressure on this young man they call Very Dark Man to make an apology to a criminal who ought to be in jail. I am talking about Mr. Femi Falana. He's a morally bankrupt man. Yes, corrupt. We thought the people, someone who will come to the national TV, sit down and be gyrating as if he owns Nigeria, talking about corruption, not knowing that he sits on top of corruption. He feeds off of corruption. He drinks corruption. He walks corruption. He runs corruption. He sleeps with corruption. He's a godfather of a criminal, a man who ought to be in jail, have his jail time. So he was given a VIP treatment. So what is the reason for jailing young people who stole a tuber of yam? I saw one who was condemned to death. For what did he do? Criminals holding Nigeria hostage, led by a criminal, a drug dealer, an identity thief, a certificate forger, paired with a terrorist leading Nigeria. Nobody sees anything wrong with them. The EFCC is as fake, and they choose and pick who to prosecute. Look at the wife of the rogue president of Nigeria. What she went to do at the University of Ife, donating 1 billion naira. She has no business, no known business from where she could generate that type of amount of money. And then, sadly, the so-called Oni of Ife, as corrupt as the Sultan of Osokoto, went and unveiled in her honor, yes, a golden statue. Come on, people of Nigeria. What happened to our country? Yes, these are the type of men that are holding forth Nigeria. These are the men, the faces of leadership in Nigeria. We can't continue this way. We got to stop this nonsense. This rubbish got to stop now. So, Mr. Very Dark Man, you heard my number. If you are in Nigeria listening to me now, please share this message as widely as possible. And until it gets to Mr. Very Dark Man, I have a word for him, a personal word for him, outside what I'm speaking to him. Go now, withdraw your initial apologies to Mr. Femi Falana. He does not deserve it. Instead of him chasing you for doing nothing, he is supposed to be the one the EFCC should be chasing and head in handcuff and taken through prosecution. And if found guilty, as we believe he is, his ass should be taken to jail. So it will set a record with that. But we have a corrupt justice system that will never do any of that. And that is why we are advocating for serious change in Nigeria. Our country has become a subject of a scandalous ridicule everywhere on earth. Come out, you say you are a Nigerian. Everybody will be looking at you like you are a criminal. We are not all criminals. These are the criminals. The elites of Nigeria are mostly criminals. The traditional rulers inside Nigeria are mostly criminals. The religious leaders who will exploit the people, fleece the people to buy fly jets and build mansions and build universities that their members cannot afford. They are all criminals. They are the ones the world should be looking with odium, and not the poor, innocent young Nigerian who is surviving who has to trek 1,000 miles across the Sahara Desert to get to Libya, to get to Morocco, where they look for ways to get through a makeshift boats. Yes, most of which drown in the world Mediterranean on their way to Italy from a country and a continent that has over 45% of the Earth's resources. How fair, how unfair the world is. And in the midst of all this, we see things coming from those who enslaved us, those who colonized us, those who imperialized us, those who brought about apartheid, and those who are now holding us hostage with globalization. We see things because we don't have the type of leaders to react to what they are doing to us, that those who look at us from the viewpoint of less than animals, they are getting worse by the day, but we don't have the leadership to stand up to them. Nigeria is gone with corruption, down with corruption. So, Mr. Very Dark Man, I am talking to you now with audacity. Do not allow anyone put you under pressure to yield and be on the run. A lot of people are interested in your case. They want to stand behind you, but you have the light. If you are truly true and you are not corrupt like some Nigerian young people, there is no reason you should be afraid. There is no reason you should be sleepless. There is no reason you should be restless because of the threat being posed by Femi Falana, an empty barrel that makes the loudest noise. Now, we must stand up. That is why it is important. When you hear this message, contact me. Let us talk about it and forge a way forward out of this. We must break the back of this elder nonsense. Like we want to bury the Nigerian system that has held all of us in captivity, that has driven some of Nigeria's best brains outside Nigeria and driven the others underground. A lot of them have become so frustrated and died in frustration. Yes, because they cannot speak up. Our country has become a country of people who cannot stand for their rights. Yes, a country of scared people. A country, 250 million people being manipulated by less than 10,000 people. Something is not right. 250 million people in chains of a drug dealer, a U.S. indicted drug dealer. Yes, I'm talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a man who was indicted for drug dealing here in the United States. A man who contributed to the destruction of Gary, Indiana. A man who has killed so many people through his involvement with commercial drug dealing. A man who ought not to be sitting on the presidency of Nigeria, but a man who is supposed to be in jail. Yes, here in the United States, how America let him go and collected $500,000 US is something that is raising a lot of red flags. And this is the problem with the Imperial West. Yes, they will always manipulate our people to line behind the criminals that they can blackmail to do whatever they want to do. You see why Africa is populated by puppets. Yes, our best never lead Africa. Our best who can stand up to the West never lead Africa. This is where we have the problem. Look at what they are doing in Burkina Faso with the young man for standing up. Look at what they are doing in Niger with Mr. General Chiani for standing up. Look at what they are doing in Mali. Look at what they are doing in Guinea. Look at what they are doing in Senegal. And everywhere, a young man, everywhere, a true diehard African stands up. They are there to crush him. So business will continue as always. Africa is at a point where the citizens, where its children must make a decision about the way forward, or they will be recolonized. And when they are recolonized, it will be goodbye forever to Africa. If you're an African listening to me, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You cannot be educated for no equal opportunity. Yes, you cannot be educated in your country. You cannot be an engineer in your country. And Chinese are coming to construct roads your country. So what is the reason for your study of engineering? Yeah, these are the questions you must start asking. And this is the reason why we must stop allowing ourselves to be manipulated into choosing criminals as our leaders. Now, Africa, unite. Africans, unite. Unite for the benefit of your future. Unite for the benefit of your children. Unite for the benefit of tomorrow. Unite for the benefit of right now. Stop and think. Think about your leadership. Think about your own contribution to making Africa great against what it has been. Stop this evil of tribalism and religious nationalism. Stand up and be true Africans. Everywhere you stand on the surface of Africa and elsewhere, be proud of who you are. Be proud of Africa. Start thinking Africa right now. Because if we don't do it, ain't nobody will come to do it. So, Mr. Black Man, or very black, dark man, I am calling on you. Reach out to me. Fear not. Falana cannot do you anything. When we have the numbers, that is what we have been looking for. We keep telling our young people, we need a critical mass of critically conscious Nigerian and African people to push the evil and push the darkness that is holding our people back. It is now or never. So do not be afraid. Don't listen to any pressure. Don't yield to any pressure from any elder. Those elders are fake. I am telling you, they don't mean well for you. They will endanger you the more than if you stand up and the more people stand behind you. I call on the Nigerian youth. One of you now is in trouble. You must line behind him. Because it is him today. Tomorrow it could be you. That has been the problem with us in Nigeria. We cannot sustain anything. We don't know how to fight for justice. When one person is head down, all of us will be running. Why not all of us are head down? Let's come down. When they hold one person, they are holding all of us. And we don't yield. And let us see if these evil men will not run. They will run. They know the psychology that we cannot stand up. We cannot unite. Before we say anything, you are talking about religion. You are talking about tribe. You are talking about all kinds of ism and schism that they have used to hold us in captivity in the past. We must now start uniting. We must now start standing behind our peers who are being oppressed and repressed. I thought I shared this with you. Please share this message and please subscribe and always come back. We need your help to help expand our mission. Yes, we have a mission to bring the whole world, young people especially, together for the salvation of the world. Thank you and God bless you.